Hi, and welcome to All About Adulting. I'm your host, Kimberly Buckley, and I'm the library manager at the Concord Library. I've been planning adulting programs at the library for a long time, and I was also a teen librarian for many years, so I feel like I have a lot of experience on this topic, and I hope that you will enjoy this mini series geared for high school and college students. I know these last few months have been hard for all of us and having to stay at home, and I hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy. And since we can't go to the library right now, I thought I would bring the adulting programs to you. And I hope you enjoy this week's segment. I also want to give another big shout out again to all of the 2020 graduates. We are all so proud of your accomplishments and want to say a big congratulations to all of you. Way to go, class of 2020. Okay, so before we get started on our topic of the day, and if you're just tuning in for the first time, I usually go over what adulting is, and I get asked this question a lot. And the question is, what is adulting anyway? And adulting can mean a lot of things, but the real definition actually means to do grown up things like get a job, pay your bills, or do your own laundry. But the number one point of adulting is that you're being independent on your own and being responsible. Okay, so now that we know all of that, we can move on to what I think is the more fun aspect of adulting, trying to figure out just what you need to know and how to apply it to your life. And here are some of the topics that we've gone over in this mini series. And you can see that some of these are very, very important skills for living on your own. And even though this might seem like a lot, you can totally do this. And I'm here to help. Okay, so our topic today is all about communication and with an emphasis on relationships. And communication skills can be very important for someone who is merging into adulthood. A while back, I talked about the statistics on young adults and on their phones and how texting has become the unified form of communication for most young adults in the US. So it's really essential to understand what effective communication is and how to build the skills that you'll need when you're an adult. So today I'm going to go over some of the basics of what you need to know about communication and also how it affects your personal relationships. And this is a really important part of being an adult and living on your own. So hopefully looking at these different ways that you can actively maintain healthy communication skills will help to make things a little easier for you as you move toward adulthood. And if you do a little work now, and if you're more aware of how you can find ways to communicate personally and professionally, you might find that you will be a lot more confident and ready to take on life. And guess what? How you communicate with others is really an important skill to have. So, I've got some ideas to share with you on this topic. So, let's get started. So, let's talk about effective communication skills. And some really important skills that relate to communication are clarity, active listening, and confidence. So, with clarity, this means having a clear manner of communicating and based on the purpose of communication and your target audience. Clarity is also about explaining or sharing information in a short but understandable manner. So, why do you need this? Well, clarity is important because it eliminates misunderstandings, it makes conversations shorter, and it also helps people to understand information better. So, for active listening, communication is always a two-way street, right? Which means one person shares and the other one listens, and then vice versa. So now, active listening is more than just hearing, it refers to focusing on what the speaker has said and understanding what it really means. Active listening also involves considering nonverbal cues from the speaker, such as body movements, tone of voice, or eye contact. You can use body language to show that you're listening, which includes nodding in agreement. Or another way is to just say your opinion and give feedback to the speaker. And this is a great way to let the person speaking know that you're really interested in what they're saying. So, why is this important? Well, active listening is one of the key reasons why relationships become strong and solid. Everyone can listen, but not everyone can listen attentively and actively. This skill shows how sincere a person is to understand the feeling or message of the speaker. For confidence, confidence refers to how you act when you're communicating, which involves assurance with what you're saying. So, to show confidence in communication, a person needs to have a stable and clear voice. A shaky voice will not convince other people that you're being serious. And worse, it might even result in a really long conversation that you did not want to have. Another way to show confidence is the use of eye contact. If you can look a person right in the eyes when you're talking to them, it shows that you genuinely want to communicate. Additionally, confidence is not just about showing authority or being able to present with assurance. Confidence is about sharing with humor or saying sorry when you need to in a conversation. So, why do you need confidence? Well, confidence allows you to discover what you can and can't do when communicating with other people. When you feel confident about what you want to share, you will build a presence that results in making people feel comfortable speaking with you. Confidence is needed to convince others to listen and understand what a person is trying to say. It also develops the value of respect to both the speaker and the receiver. So, now we're going to talk about defining communication styles. Every person has a unique communication style and a way in which they interact and exchange information with others. So there are four basic communication styles: passive, aggressive, passive aggressive, and assertive. It's important to understand each communication style and why we use them. For example, the assertive communication style has been found to be the most effective because it incorporates the best aspects of all the styles. And when we break down these four styles, we can see better the characteristics of each style and what makes them unique. So, for passive, individuals who use the passive communication style often act indifferently or yielding to others. They don't usually express their feelings or what they need. And sometimes they just lack the outward communication skills. And this can lead to misunderstandings. And also, it can sometimes passive communicators are easier to speak with because they will definitely avoid a confrontation. And passive communicators are also easy to get along with because they just tend to follow others and go with the flow. For aggressive, it's often apparent when someone communicates in an aggressive manner. You'll probably hear it, you'll definitely see it, and you might even feel it. The aggressive communication style is emphasized by speaking in a loud voice and demanding voice, and maintaining intense eye contact and dominating or controlling others. An example of a phrase that might be an aggressive one is, I'm right and you're wrong. For passive aggressive, this style, they usually appear to be passive on the outside, but inside they might feel powerless or stuck. And this might build up some resentment that leads to them acting out in either maybe a subtle way or an indirect way or even a secret way. Most passive aggressive communicators might talk to themselves rather than confront a person. They have difficulty acknowledging their anger, and they use facial expressions that don't correlate with how they really feel. So ultimately, passive aggressive communicators, they are aware of their needs, but at times they just struggle to voice them. So an example of a phrase from a passive aggressive communicator might be, that's fine with me, but don't be surprised if someone else gets mad. So, for the assertive style, this is the one that's thought to be the most effective form of communication because it's a style that focuses on being open and not being overbearing. Assertive communicators can express their own needs and desires and ideas, and they also consider the needs of others. They aim for both sides to win in a situation and try to balance one's rights with the rights of others. And one of the keys to assertive communication is using I statements. So, such as, I feel frustrated when you do this. It indicates ownership of feelings and behaviors without blaming the other person. So, an example of a phrase for an assertive communicator might be, we are equally entitled to express ourselves respectfully to one another. So, how do you communicate? Well, the best way to communicate is by being assertive. And here are some things that will help you to develop the skills necessary to get your point across effectively and to improve the quality of your relationships. You should be clear about what you want. Decide exactly what you want in a situation, and then clearly, honestly, and specifically say what it is that you want to say. You try to state your own feelings first in order to come across as if you're taking responsibility for your own emotions rather than blaming the other person for how you feel. You should listen mindfully. Being assertive isn't just about getting your own needs met, but it's also about trying to meet the needs of the other person so that you both come away happy. Listening mindfully means that you're full attention, noticing when your mind wanders, and bringing it back to the present moment. Try to be non-judgmental. You know how it feels for yourself when you're being judged, right? So try to talk to the other person the way you would like to be spoken to, and don't blame, don't judge. Just stick to the facts on how you feel about the situation. You can validate others by reflecting back to others what they're saying so that they know that you're listening and understanding. And if it's necessary, ask questions to clarify. Let them know what they have to say is important and that it makes sense, even if you don't agree with it. And try not to over apologize. Saying you're sorry means you're taking responsibility for something and that you're taking the blame. So if you're not to blame, then you shouldn't apologize. And if you do this all of the time, it will decrease your self respect. All right, so positive friendships are an important part of the journey to adulthood. They help you to learn important social and emotional skills like being sensitive to others' feelings and well being. Having friends helps you to feel a sense of belonging as well as a feeling of being valued. Friendships can also help you to gain personal confidence, and having friends that support you also help you to develop compassion, caring, and empathy. All right, so now we're going to talk about communication in relationships. More than anything, communication is essential to building any healthy relationship. The first step is making sure that both partners are on the same page about the relationship and understand each other's expectations. Disagreements are a natural part of any relationship, but compromising and resolving conflicts is a fair and rational way that will help both of you to listen to each other and agree on something that satisfies both. Respect. Being in a relationship means showing your partner respect. Your partner's feelings, emotions, and wants all have value, and the bottom line is mutual respect is imperative in maintaining a healthy relationship with anyone. Both partners should show the other respect in a variety of ways by listening to the other's ideas, understanding what boundaries are being set, and offering support and encouragement. Healthy relationships are about building each other up, not putting each other down. And when it comes to communicating, respect means being open to what the other person is trying to say. This doesn't mean you can't disagree, because disagreements are also healthy in conversations. But just remember that being respectful goes a long way, especially in relationships with friends, parents, teachers, and coworkers at your job. And as a result, you will receive respect in turn, and that's a good thing. So, boundaries. Respecting each other's privacy is a big part of building a healthy boundary. Neither partner has to share everything, including who they're hanging out with or what they've been doing. Both partners should feel free to share this information or not. Moreover, both partners should allow for time and space away from each other. When two partners are constantly together, it doesn't allow any room for the relationship to breathe. It's healthy to spend time apart, and this can actually benefit the relationship. Boundaries are not designed to make anyone feel trapped in a relationship. It will help both partners to feel like they are more free to do things they want to do and spend time with others. It's actually more trusting to set boundaries and agree to them, and then it's to stipulate or impose restrictions on the relationship, because boundaries express what makes both partners feel comfortable. So, the signs of an unhealthy relationship. Well, unhealthy relationships are marked by characteristics such as disrespect and control. It's important to be able to recognize the signs of an unhealthy relationship before it escalates. Some characteristics of an unhealthy relationship include: one partner makes all the decisions and tells the other one what to do, or what to wear, or who to spend time with. He or she is unreasonably jealous and might try to isolate the other partner from his or her friends and family. Some things to look out for are disrespect, like when one partner makes fun of the opinions and interests of the other partner or destroys something that the partner likes. Control. One partner tries to control aspects of the other's life by making the other partner fearful or timid. One partner might attempt to keep his or her partner from friends or family or threaten them to break up with them. Well, and then there's dishonesty. This could be where a friend lies to you, or they keep information from you, or if they steal something from you. So, how we feel and how we deal. Feelings play a big role in communication. Emotional awareness is the ability to understand feelings and will help you succeed when communicating with other people. If you are emotionally aware, you will communicate better. You'll notice the emotions of other people and how the way they are feeling influences the way that we communicate with each other. Emotional awareness might also help us to understand what others are saying and why. Sometimes understanding how a person is communicating with you is more important than what is actually being said. Have you ever tried to hide your feelings? Well, it's pretty hard for most of us to do this, and that's because emotions don't lie. Instead of trying to hide or ignore your feelings, focus on becoming aware of your feelings and the feelings of those around you in order to be a better communicator. You can improve your emotional awareness by focusing on these 5 skills. 1. Consider other people's feelings. Have you ever finished a conversation with someone and found yourself wondering, why did she tell me that? Or, I wonder why he talked to me like that. Well, consider other people's feelings. Consider your own feelings. Just as other people's feelings can affect the message that they're trying to send, your own feelings can get in the way of your communication as well. So, when you feel a strong emotion or feeling, pay attention to that emotion and try not to let it get in the way of your message. Both positive emotions like happiness and negative emotions like anger can really get in the way of communication. And you should try and have empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and relate to the feelings of someone else. Once you've learned to recognize another person's feelings, you can go one step further and actually relate to those feelings. And when you have empathy for a person, you can think about how you would want to be talked to or what you would like other people to say or do if you were in that situation. And recognize misunderstandings. A misunderstanding happens when two people think they're on the same page about something, but in reality, they are actually thinking about two totally different things. And misunderstandings, they happen all the time, but emotional awareness can help you to avoid misunderstandings. And misunderstandings are often caused by confusing emotions. Valuing relationships is important at any age. Stable relationships with friends, families, and partners are especially important for young people as they can influence physical health, promote self esteem, and a sense of belonging, and they can also assist in the development of problem solving and social skills. And on an average day, we have many different feelings or emotions, and everyone has feelings, and they are important. It's also important to be able to recognize what you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. Feelings can help you to make decisions. According to an article in the Young Adult Romantic Relationships Journal from 2018, young adults who were able to successfully establish and maintain positive relationships tend to be more satisfied with their lives and better adjusted well into later life. So, understanding the value of relationships can be a crucial piece in the basic fundamentals for young adults who are moving into adulthood. All right. This is the romance philosophers. And I just want to say, I don't know why, but there was just something really catchy about this phrase, romance philosophy or philosophers, that just captured my interest. And so if you think about it, philosophers aren't really known for their ideas on love and romance, but I've noticed that a few of them have managed to have some really amazing thoughts on the concept of romance and they've had some really interesting relationships too. So I thought I would share these with you, and I think you might really like some of these. So Bell Hooks was as an American author and a feminist philosopher, and she realized after breaking up with a few boyfriends that there was no proper text on love that she could refer to. And she said she would have loved to have had that to give her some help to save those relationships that she had. So, like any good writer, she then set out to write her own book. And she had a book that's called All About Love, New Visions. And she argues that our modern definition of love is too watered down by the overuse of the word. And working from the idea that love is a verb, she then suggests ways to improve our modern concept of love and prevent what hinders it. So, Soren Kierkegaard, perhaps the most tragic romantic on this list, Kierkegaard fell madly in love with a young woman named Regina Olsen, who was also madly in love with him. He proposed marriage, but he broke it off a month later, and I guess he wanted his engagement ring back, and they were both devastated by his actions and the pain over the lives that he lost with her. It really influenced his writings for the rest of his life, and he must have really, really regretted it, because this is a quote from him, from Kierkegaard. It's, "If you marry, you will regret it. If you do not marry, you will also regret it. If you marry or do not marry, you will regret both." I think he was a little confused, maybe. And then our other philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, he tried his hardest to have a decent social and love life. And while his connections allowed for some success, he was rather luckless in the romance department. He viewed love itself positively, but seeing it as one of the key motivations for human activity. In his writings on the will to life, it foreshadowed some Freudian notions that Freud talked about. But despite this attitude towards love, Schopenhauer, he still found a way to be pessimistic about it too. And he argued that most people would pick horrible spouses and have too many children and end up miserable anyway. That's a total bummer, right? But the final here's a quote from Schopenhauer: "The final aim of all love intrigues, by they comic or tragic, is really of more importance than all other ends in human life." And I think I like I think he liked Socrates, and I think this is a funny quote by Socrates. It says, "By all means marry. If you get a good one, you'll be happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher." And that ends our romance philosopher section. So I just wanted to add in this communication ethics, just because, it's when you're talking to someone, it's really important to act according to your values and morals, and you should know what your values and morals are, and you should stick to them. And if someone asks you to do something that goes against what you believe in, you won't feel good about yourself. And if you agree to the request, you won't feel good about it. So it's perfectly okay to say no. And you can even be honest about the reason why you're saying no, even if it's just because you don't want to do something. But you should maintain that honesty in your communication. And the last thing I want to talk about today is sharing lessons learned. Learning how to form and sustain happy and healthy relationships is a key skill for anyone, and having a strong and healthy family ties will actually help with effective problem solving and will influence positive communication as well. And maintaining healthy family interactions will also help to develop a healthy relationship with future partners and can also influence any experiences with friends or coworkers. But sometimes it's not possible for everyone to have a healthy family environment. So it's always really important for young adults to focus on the skills that they could learn from others and adapt it to work for their own style. And being prepared for future relationships can help in a lot of ways. Because if you're not prepared, then there can be possibly a range of a lot of problems that can happen, including divorce and marital conflict. But the good news is that according to a national survey of 18 to 25-year-olds, a large majority of young people actually want some form of guidance on the emotional aspects of romantic relationships. Over 70% of the respondents, for instance, wanted more information from their parents about either how to develop a mature relationship or how to deal with breakups. 36% wanted to know how to avoid getting hurt in a relationship, and 33% wanted to know how to begin a relationship. And there was 27% of high school students that wanted this kind of guidance. So, how can parents prepare young adults to develop healthy, caring, romantic relationships? Well, many parents might not know what to say in these conversations because they might think that they have had a lot of failures in their own romantic relationships and they don't really want to share it, but they should share their stories and believe that they have a lot of wisdom to share. Relationship failures can generate a lot of insight into the ingredients of a healthy relationship. And consulting with parents that you respect and talking about their past relationships can open up questions about hopes and feelings and any misconceptions that you might have about relationships. And the good news is that if you do this work now, you can have some meaningful conversations. And even if you don't get all the answers, you'll get some great insight on what to expect. And this will really help you with your current or future relationships. Ah, I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, I could really go on forever talking about different things that are helpful for effective communication and relationships, like being understanding and speaking with confidence. And I hope that you have gotten some good ideas on what you might want to try out for yourself. And you should definitely check out some of those philosophers I mentioned, like Kierkegaard or Schopenhauer or bell hooks, if you haven't already. And also, if you can practice some active listening, it will really help you communicate in a positive way. And it's good to just try it out for practice. And anytime you're trying something new, then you're trying it out that will help direct you toward adulting, well, that's a good thing. And it allows you to grow and move forward, which also helps you to be prepared for adulthood. And remember, it takes time to learn all of this stuff. And also remember, there will be trial and error. And of course, you can make mistakes. That's totally okay. And just relax, though, and know that you're doing fine, and you'll be ready in your own time. Well, that's all I have for you this week. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this segment of our mini series. If you have any questions or want to know more about adulting, I'd be more than happy to answer. I have my email address listed here in case you want to contact me. And I'm Kimberly Buckley, and this has been All About Adulting. See you all next time.